Okay, Brett here. I got a question for you. What happens when the Lord gives us a direction to move? It says that we need to go, I don't know, XYZ, whatever it is. Maybe it's you are called to start a new church somewhere. What needs to happen? You thought about it yet? Okay. Well, we see in the Bible in Nehemiah chapter 2 that there's somebody who gets a call like this to go and execute a purpose of the Lord, a plan that the Lord has given him. And he goes about it in a little bit of a different way, it seems, than some of us have gone about such a thing today. And I thought that was interesting, and I'd like to be able to talk to you about it here for just a minute. We're going to turn here to Nehemiah chapter 2. Chapter 2, Nehemiah is a cupbearer, just as a little background. He's a cupbearer in the king's court. King Artaxerxes, we see king of Persia, when Nehemiah and Ezra brought back some of the exiles to Judah. So they're a partial return from exile. Nehemiah is the cupbearer. He's the one who sips the king's wine and then serves it to him if Nehemiah doesn't die because somebody tried to poison the king that day. The king trusts Nehemiah with his life. Now, if you're in the presence of the king, an important piece of background to know, you are not supposed to be sad. You're in the king's court. This is supposed to be like being in Eden, a place where your needs are met. The king is supposed to be seen as somebody who supplies for the common good. You are to be happy in the king's presence. Okay? Just real summarized background. There's more you can look into if you're interested. So Nehemiah is serving in the presence of the king, and the king says, "Why are you looking so sad? You don't look sick to me. You must be deeply troubled." Uh-oh. If you're sad in the king's presence, that can reflect poorly on the king, that he's not a good provider, that he's not meeting even the needs of his close, respected associates, let alone those in his kingdom. Nehemiah could have been killed for this. Just then I was terrified, but I replied, "Long live the king, how can I not be sad? For the city where my ancestors are buried is in ruins, and the gates have been destroyed by fire." The king asked, "Well, how can I help you?" With a prayer to the God of heaven, I replied, "If it please the king, if you are pleased with me, your servant, send me to Judah to rebuild the city where my ancestors are buried." And so they get into the details about, all right, well, if we do this, how's it going to be done? How long is it going to take? This is not something that Nehemiah went into accidentally, flippantly. This is something that he had thought about, that he had given some planning to, it seems, with what kind of materials would be needed, with the amount of time it would take to get all of this done. And he was able to respond to the king there when the king asked of him all that was going on and all that he would need. So long story short, the king gives Nehemiah favor. He shows him favor, gives him what he needs in order to get the job done, and he sends him on his way to be able to do that. You have a couple guys here, Sanballat, the Ornerite, however you want to pronounce that, and Tobiah, the Ammonite. They're not happy that Nehemiah has been sent from the king to restore the temple. And as you follow the story, you see they come against Nehemiah and Ezra pretty regularly, but we'll put them aside for the moment. So Nehemiah gets there. He arrived in Jerusalem. Catch this, 3 days later. 3 days later. So he's apparently not talked to anybody about why he's there for 3 days, even though the Lord gave him this urging, this command to be able to go and to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, to rebuild the house of the Lord. Nehemiah has sat around for 3 days. What is he doing, this Nehemiah? Is he even serving the Lord anymore? It's been 3 days. What's taking him so long? So he says, verse 12, "I slipped out during the night, taking only a few others with me. I had not told anybody about the plans God had put in my heart for Jerusalem." Taking too much time there, Nehemiah. Uh-oh. We took no pack animals with us except the donkey I was riding. And so they went out, they checked out the valley gate, the jackal's well, the dung gate, the fountain gate, the king's pool. The rubble gets so intense the donkey can't get through it, so he's got to walk. They went through the Kidron Valley and inspected some of the walls and entered back through the valley gate. The city officials did not know I had been out there or what I was doing, for I had not yet said anything to anyone about my plans. I had not spoken to the Jewish leaders, the priests, the nobles, the officials, anyone else in the administration. But now I said to them, "You know very well what trouble we're in. Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been destroyed by fire. Let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem and end this disgrace." Then I told them about how the gracious hand of God had been on me, and about my conversation with the king. So we see Nehemiah, he has plenty of opportunity to rush in and to tell everybody, hey, come charging in on his, mule, which is more like kind of like the horse that we would have in mind today. It would have been a animal that was stately, that this guy's being sent from the king. He's not going to be sent on some half-bred beast that is the butt of all the jokes. He's going to be taken care of. He's on the king's business. And the king sent him to build up these walls and to build up the temple. Nehemiah knows why he's there. He knows who sent him there ultimately, and who he represents as being a cupbearer of the king. Okay, and he still doesn't tell anybody about it for 3 days. Why not? There's a few reasons, but one of them is he needs to be able to take a look and see for himself what's going on. He's been hearing about things from the capital, from where the king is, but he hasn't been there for himself. He wants to see what's going on with the people, see where they're at, who's around, who can I count on to help be able to further this work that the Lord is having me undertake here. So he's looking at these things. He's checking out all the stuff that's going to need to be done, all the work that's going to need to be completed, the state of the destruction, and thinking, man, there's so much to do here, and Jerusalem is so exposed. It's supposed to be the city of God, the city of God's people, and the place where He is represented on the face of this earth. And it's destroyed. It's bringing shame on the name of the Lord and on the Lord's people. Nehemiah knows this. So when we see that he's talking, he finally talks with the people after 3 days, and he hadn't told anyone, I'll put it in today's lingo, he hadn't talked to the pastors, he hadn't talked to the representatives and to the congressmen, the senators, or anything. He hadn't talked to any of the people in the local government. He hadn't talked to anybody in any administration. But after he inspected everything for himself, after he was there and had taken time to get a feel for how things were for himself, he then told him about, look, you know the trouble that we're in. We are in trouble. The walls are down. The gates have been breached. They've been destroyed. And we have nothing keeping us safe right now. Because of this, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem and end this disgrace. We are in disgrace right now. What has been done to Jerusalem and what we are continuing to have done to Jerusalem by not doing anything is shameful. Let's rebuild the wall, is what the people respond. He told them about the gracious hand of the Lord, how the Lord had his gracious hand on him, and about the conversation with the king. Look, the king supports us. God sent me to do this. Let's get it done. What he did not do was ride in on a white horse and, look, everybody, I've come and the Lord has sent me, so therefore you need to listen to what I have to say right now. Drop everything you're doing, because I've just come from this, from the king, and he's sent me on a mission, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and come in detached from everything that's been going on, from everyone's concerns, from the people that he's going to be leading and ministering to, Yeah, he didn't do that. It took some time. It was a little dirty, right? A little messy getting things going. And yeah, they had some things along the way, some persecution along the way that they ended up having to uh, be able to overcome. But they did. Nehemiah didn't run straight into something. He didn't just get a word from the Lord and right, there's preparation, there's planning that needed to happen. He needed to bring the team around him to be able to get the job done well, to not bring more shame and more disgrace to the Lord. And in today's world, in the context we're in right now, it seems like we're at a similar point. The Lord has been sharing things with people, I believe. We have had several words that have come out. There's not really been a huge shortage of them since the beginning of the year. And we've had multiple words given about COVID, about whether or not who's going to be president, who's going to be in charge of what part of the government here in America, and all that stuff. And I do believe that the Lord's in it, that the Lord does have a plan, and that he has been sharing things with people. That being said, have we taken the time to go about this in a manner that's deliberate, that's careful, and is going to bring glory and honor to the Lord's name? That's going to help people to know who he is and how great he is. Have we let these prophetic words be weighed by those who are in the prophetic ministry and see, is this of the Lord? Is this something that he is saying right now to everybody? Is it something that's being said to an individual? Is it something that we need to sit on for a little bit? I don't know. I think in some cases it's very clear that that's happened. In other cases, it seems like somebody just hopped on a webcam and said, hey guys, I think I got this word that y'all need to drop what you're doing in here. And that's not the right way to go about things. If anything, Nehemiah shows us an example of here's what it looks like to represent the Lord well and to carry out his word and his command for you well. It can be dirty. It can be messy. You can have people who come along and try to derail what you're doing and plant people in the middle of what you're doing to try and bring it down. Just because you're doing the Lord's will doesn't mean it's going to be easy. If we're not careful to be listening to the Lord and be connecting to the people and caring about the people he's sent us to, we can actually bring more harm and more disgrace than we resolve. So that being said, just want to bring about some encouragement that the Lord is speaking today, that he does have a plan, and also a call to the Lord's heart. And let's pursue the Lord's heart, the one who gave us, right, the Bible, his word, the one who loves us, who created us, who wants us to be with him. Let's pursue his heart. How does he want things done? The more fragmented, fractured, divided we become and splintered out, the more disgrace it seems that we're bringing on him, the more everyone can say, well, here's why I believe part of this, and I don't think about this about the Bible, and why I can do I can do things the Bible says never to do, and fly it in God's face, because really we're more enlightened now than we were then, and there's a discussion to be had there. There's a way to go about it that brings glory to the Lord. But just because I feel so doesn't make it so. And it's important for us to partner with the Lord in a diligent, dedicated way to execute his will and see glory brought to him and people to know who he is in spirit and in truth. So I do think the Lord is moving today. I think that he's got a plan in all this. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got. But that being said, thanks for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks.